This is the most desirable SUV in the world, the Mercedes G63 AMG. It's a car which has stood the test of time, and while the G-Wagon is available with multiple powertrain options like the G580 electric, the G450D diesel, and of course this one which happens to be the V8 petrol, the G63 AMG, this car, the G-Class, is not perfect and has its own fair share of pros and cons. And thus in today's video I will tell you 4 pros and 4 cons of the Mercedes G-Class. Starting with the cons, the first one is the price. It's not just very expensive, it's also supremely overpriced. This right here is the most expensive Mercedes car you can buy in India right now, because this G63 AMG costs a whopping rupees 4.6 crores on road Mumbai. That makes this car right here more expensive than any other AMG or Maybach model that Mercedes sells in India. The only car which costs more than this one is obviously the bulletproof S-Guard, which costs almost rupees 10 crores on road Mumbai, depending on what customization you opt for. Yeah, that's bulletproof. That's like a luxury tank, and it's a sedan. Anyways, more than the price, what's concerning is how Mercedes has increased the prices of the G-Wagon over the years. In 2019, the G350D was launched at rupees 2 crores on road Mumbai. 7 years later, in 2026, the updated model, which is of the same generation but gets more features and more power, is priced at rupees 3.5 crores. That's an increase of 75%. I simply can't wait for the India-EU FTA to come into full effect, because being a CBU, the price of this car is really high because of the taxes, of course, and the prices will definitely come down by quite a margin once the India-EU FTA reduces the import duty. Woo! It's such a crazy car. The second con is the lack of features. It does get quite a bit of kit, but at this price I expect more equipment like a head-up display, panoramic sunroof with an electric blind, rear seat ventilation, rear sun blinds, extendable sun visors, proper buttons on the steering wheel and not touch sensitive ones, and rear wheel steering, because the turning radius of this car is quite a lot. Then there is ADAS in this car, which can't be turned off permanently, because every time you restart the car, the ADAS system resets and turns back on completely, which is not in line with the latest Mercedes models, wherein if you turn off ADAS and restart the car, it remains off. And obviously ADAS doesn't really work in Indian conditions, because our conditions and driving style is so weird that the system goes in a tizzy every time there's someone ahead of you. It's going to like put you with forward collision, or like shock you with forward collision warning and then automatic emergency braking, which can be quite unsafe. And unfortunately here you have to remember to turn it off every time you turn on the car. That is a big task. If I'm paying so much money, there should be a person who's given with the car, whose job is to keep turning off the ADAS every time I turn on the car. The third con is the rear seat experience. Because for a car that measures more than 4.8 meters in length and has a wheelbase of almost 2.9 meters, rear seat space is average at best. You have to climb into the car, the seat is high, and foot room, leg room and knee room isn't great, although headroom is good here. The fourth con is the ride quality. It's just not comfortable. And the bigger problem is that you're going to encounter such roads, which means that the car does move quite a bit, because firstly, it uses a ladder frame, which obviously has the inherent flaw of the lumpiness which you feel at lower speeds. As you speed up, the ride definitely improves. However, it's a very stiff car and you can feel every bit when you drive on such roads, because obviously Indian roads are really pathetic. You have random bumps. Listen to it. You can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it. That's how the ride quality of this car is, which is just not good enough, because firstly it has got low profile tires, which means that the tire sidewall is so small that you obviously feel everything on the inside. The second issue is that it uses a ladder frame, which means it has the lumpiness at lower speeds, which you can feel as well. And it's a heavy car, it's top heavy, so there is body roll too, which is in abundance here. The biggest issue though is the fact that it does not get air suspension. It does have adaptive dampers. We are right now on comfort mode, but in spite of that, you can obviously feel quite a lot, which means you have to really reduce your speed when driving over really bad roads. Otherwise, the G63 AMG really transmits almost everything inside, even though it has a trick AMG ride control suspension, which does more for the handling than it does for the ride quality of the car. Now, it's similar to Land Rover's 6D suspension, the 6 dynamic suspension, which is there in the Defender Octa. But trust me on this is a car which is really meant for good roads. Over bad roads, you feel a lot inside the cabin, which really hurts your experience with this car. So yes, the G63 AMG is not made for such bumps at all. You do feel them, and you feel them in abundance. And then you have to be very careful over such roads, because you don't want to damage the tires. They are expensive, they are low profile tires as well. Yeah, it does rock around quite a bit. But there's a lot to like about this G-Wagon, and the first pro is the design. It's boxy, it's old school with round headlamps, exposed hinges, thali wheels on this particular model, unique side placement of the exhaust, side hinge tailgate mounted spare wheel, and indicators placed on the hood that actually cost Mercedes a lot more money than traditional indicators. Yet the G-Wagon is modern in every way, with full LED lights, logo projection from the outside rear view mirrors, and red colored brake calipers with AMG branding. Step inside and you will notice how the grab handle on the co-driver's side is so cool, while the lock and unlock sound of the doors are super satisfying to the ears. They replicate the sound of a machine gun. Not the right thing to say when the world is at war. The second pro is the build quality. This car actually feels like a freaking tank and goes like a rocket. So much so that you can actually slam close the doors with as much aggression as you want, because they are built that tough.
Let's do that again!
The third pro is the performance, especially of this G63 AMG. Woo. Performance from this engine is absolutely unbelievable. This is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 known as the M177. 8 cylinders, oh my goodness, absolutely glorious performance. Pulls this house-like car very fast. Firstly, the car is shaped like a fridge and weighs as much as a house, yet this is the first time you can actually race a house, because it's just so fantastically fast. It's super quick, it's amazingly responsive. This engine is sweet. It doesn't have smoothness to it. I mean, it's smooth at lower speeds, but it has this raw edge to it, which makes it sound more like a muscle car than a big fat truck. Yeah, this is a truck, it's an SUV, but whatever you say, performance is mind-blowing. First and foremost, it has good amount of grunt lower end, mid-range is phenomenal, and it has a top end too. And then obviously you can change gears using the paddle. Gearbox really quick with shifts. Oh my god, what an engine, what a gearbox, phenomenal performance. 585 horsepower and 850 Newton meters of torque. The result is it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.3 seconds. In fact, when you launch this car, it actually squats down from the rear, lifts the front, and just goes. The turning radius is actually quite a lot though. However, get onto the throttle and it pushes you back into the seat. Oh my god, what a car, what an engine. And
Oh, the pops and cracks, oh my goodness, feels so satisfying. The exhaust is like 10 on 10 here. Placed on the side, you can hear a bit more of them, other than the fact that obviously there might be some fake sounds which are piped in through, but that doesn't matter, because if the exhaust was at the rear, obviously you couldn't hear as much. And when you pull it in a higher gear also, it has this muscle car feel to it, which is just mind-blowing. Now obviously it drinks fuel, quite a lot of it. 3 to 5 kilometers per liter is what you're going to get from this car, which is expected given the weight of the vehicle. And beyond the weight, what Mercedes has done to resolve the issue of fuel consumption is given it a 48 volt mild hybrid system, which gives it an additional boost of around 20 horsepower and 200 Newton meters. And that's the reason why this car is so sprightly and peppy. It responds to throttle inputs absolutely instantly. Now it has a 100 liter fuel tank so that you can go long, because obviously it drinks a lot of fuel as well. Top speed 220 kilometers per hour. You have to have balls of steel to push this car beyond 200 kilometers per hour, because obviously wind is not kind to this car and it moves quite a lot at higher speeds. And obviously the ride is also I mean, I can keep complaining about the ride all day long, but I can also keep praising the performance of this car all day long as well. But you can get the AMG drivers package. AMG drivers package pushes the top speed from 220 kilometers per hour to 240 kilometers per hour, something nobody asked for. In fact, I've driven the Brabus version of this car, which was even more mental, with 1000 Newton meters of torque and boosted performance and whatnot. That is bonkers. In fact, when you accelerate hard, the sunblind opens of the sunroof. Okay, it's a bit loose. I mean, it could have been electric here, but the performance is such that the sunblind opens not just in the G63 AMG, but in the G450D as well, because obviously a lot of torque. In the G electric as well, because obviously a lot of torque. We have 5 drive modes here. Comfort, there's an individual mode where you can tweak some things, and there is obviously the snow mode, there's sport, and there's sport plus. There's no race mode here, but who really cares, because the G-Wagon is not about racing, it's about flying high because you're sitting so top heavy here. So while the driving feel is absolutely phenomenal here, braking performance is also very good for something this heavy. Tires screeching a bit, but it also has something known as race start, which is not activated in this particular car because it is brand new. And the race start obviously is the launch control mode, which ensures this car is very fast in terms of acceleration. So not just good in terms of brakes, in terms of obviously the driving feel, because you can see the complete hood while driving. This car also excels when it comes to handling. Obviously there's a lot of body roll, you can feel the weight of the car, there's this continuous movement, it's bumpy, but you feel like the king of the road when driving it, because the handling is actually quite neat, because the steering is simply lovely here. Phenomenal steering, absolutely lovely. Mercedes does great steering wheels, which means that around the corner, when you're pointing the steering to a certain angle, it is so responsive and feedback rich as well. The wipers, they work like very well. Obviously a lot of spray on the front one, not so much at the rear. The horn is nice as well. So everything in this car is over-engineered.
The 4th Pro is how capable the G-Wagon is.
It has got the hardware to go anywhere with a ladder frame chassis, which is obviously super rugged, and then it has got 3 locking differentials which have 100% locking effect. So in case you get stuck, all you need to do is press these buttons and you will be out of any tricky situation. The ground clearance is 241 mm. You can't alter it because there's no air suspension. Meanwhile, the water weighting capacity of 700 mm is also very impressive here. But this go anywhere capability of this car is only beaten by the electric version, which is even more capable because it has got 4 electric motors, which means really intelligent torque vectoring, first thing. And second thing is that it has the G-turn. Yes, the tank turn. Well, that's not all. It has something known as the G steering, which obviously reduces the turning radius dramatically as well. So no matter which G-Wagon you choose, you have something which is extremely capable and super rugged as well. I know I experienced this car in Austria, in Graz, the home of the G-Wagon, and no matter where you took this car, it felt like a cakewalk for it.
Well, there's actually a bonus 5th Pro, which is the equipment list of the G-Wagon, because this is a very old school car in terms of appearance, yet is quite loaded with a ton of features like a 12.3-inch instrument cluster which has multiple display modes, a slick 12.3-inch infotainment system which has plenty of physical buttons along with a touchpad, dual 11.6-inch rear seat entertainment screens, front seat heating, ventilation and massage. There are 8 options: electric adjust for the steering wheel and front seats with extendable under-thigh support, 64 color ambient lighting, .360-degree parking camera, three-zone climate control AC, wherein the AC vents change color to blue when you decrease temperature and to red when you increase temperature. Heated and cooled cup holders at the front, 18 speaker 760-watt Burmester 3D surround sound system that sounds fantastic. I know it breaks your heart. Move to the city in a broke down car. Mercedes, 9 airbags, lockable glove box, headlight washers, rear camera cleaning spray, and the ability to park itself. Yes, this big and heavy G-Wagon has auto park too. This G-Wagon is an SUV which might not appeal to the head with its impractical bits and high price, but definitely appeals to the heart with its excellent performance, iconic design and driving feel. It's also built to last, and because the demand far exceeds supply, it's also a great investment because resale value is very high too. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's a like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know which other luxury car should be subjected to my pros and cons test next. Bye bye.